There's a secret that separated the greatest warriors in history from ordinary men. A secret that 99% of men today are simply too weak to apply. Miyamoto Musashi won over 60 duels, never lost a single one, and died undefeated at the age of 62. But what he discovered about male weakness is shocking. Before he died, he wrote that most men become pathetic because they are addicted to three forces that destroy them from within. Musashi was born in 1584, during the violent turmoil of feudal Japan. At just 13, he killed his first man in a duel. By 16, he was already a feared warrior. But what made him different wasn't just his skill with the sword. He was a mental predator. He studied the psychology, fears, and insecurities of his opponents, defeating them in their minds long before he ever drew his blade. A University of Tokyo researcher once said that Musashi didn't win through superior strength or speed, but by understanding human nature more deeply than anyone else. In his final writings, especially a text called Dakodo, or The Path of Aloneness, he exposed the three weaknesses that he believed destroy men. The first is approval addiction. Musashi warned, never seek to be loved by everyone. He saw the constant need for approval as an addiction, like a dopamine hit from compliments and validation. Think about men today, craving likes, comments, and attention on social media. When your sense of value depends on what others think of you, you give away all your power. A man without his own power becomes a shadow of who he could be. The second weakness is the escape from discomfort. He wrote, accept everything just as it is. Most men today run from reality. They run from responsibility, from difficult conversations, from anything that feels uncomfortable. But strength is only forged through discomfort. Neuroscientists have confirmed that the brain only grows new connections and becomes stronger when it is pushed outside of its comfort zone. Men who constantly avoid discomfort simply stop evolving. Musashi, on the other hand, deliberately sought out hardship. The third weakness is being a slave to your desires. Let go of desire. He wrote, men who are ruled by their impulses for food, for entertainment, for alcohol, for validation, they think they're free, but they are actually slaves. Musashi understood that true power comes from mastering your desires, not being mastered by them, and by doing so, he became unstoppable. From this understanding, he created his method, forging strength through solitude. After his early duels, he made a radical choice. He went into complete isolation. No women, no friends, no family, no distractions. He believed that a man only discovers his true, unbreakable strength when there is no one left to save him. He trained alone in the mountains, meditated for hours in dark caves, and confronted the deepest parts of his own mind. It was during this intense solitude that he identified his three inner demons. First, the demon of doubt, the voice that whispers, you're not good enough. Second, the demon of addiction, the one that tells you, you need others to feel complete. And third, the demon of fear, which constantly asks, what if you fail? What if you lose everything? One by one, in the silence of his isolation, he fought and defeated them. Musashi also practiced a powerful ritual he called living death. Every single morning at dawn, he would visualize his own death in vivid detail. This wasn't about being morbid. It was about freedom. It freed him from fear. Modern psychologists have noted that the fear of death is the root of all other fears. If you can overcome that, you can overcome anything. After years of this brutal self-discipline, Musashi returned to the world a transformed man. His opponents often felt defeated before the duel even began. His presence alone was enough to crush them mentally. One samurai famously said that looking into Musashi's eyes felt like staring into an abyss. From his experiences, he formed 5 laws of invincibility. First, accept solitude as your greatest teacher. Second, turn discomfort into your fuel. Third, kill your emotional dependency on approval, validation, and acceptance from others. Fourth, live as if you are already dead to remove all fear. And fifth, master your impulses, your hunger, your lust, your laziness, your anger. His entire philosophy was put to the ultimate test in his most famous duel against Sasaki Kojiro, who was considered the second best swordsman in all of Japan. On the day of the duel, Musashi deliberately arrived 3 hours late. This wasn't an accident. It was a calculated psychological attack to break Kojiro's focus and fill him with rage and uncertainty. Before the fight even began, Kojiro was already mentally defeated. The duel itself lasted less than 30 seconds. But Musashi's greatest revelation wasn't about combat. He concluded that true strength doesn't come from dominating others, but from dominating yourself. For the last 20 years of his life, even though he was challenged many times, He never killed another man. He no longer had anything to prove. He also left behind a secret code for strong men. Strong men don't need to look strong. Strong men master the art of patience. Strong men are not afraid to be wrong. Strong men protect their weaknesses until they can strengthen them. And strong men always stay unpredictable. But perhaps his darkest insight was about male competition. He observed that 90% of men compete simply not to lose. They're playing defense. Predators, on the other hand, aim to conquer. They play to win. Musashi became the ultimate predator because he fought to win, not just to avoid loss. He tested himself with a brutal thought experiment. He would imagine losing everything: his status, his possessions, his relationships, even his health, and then he would ask himself, would I still be strong? His answer was always yes, because he had built a strength that wasn't external. It was entirely internal. This leads us to his final, most powerful truth. The difference between strong and weak men isn't what they achieve, but what they can live without. Weak men need approval, constant distraction, fleeting pleasures, validation, and company. Strong men can live without these things, and that is precisely why they ultimately attract them. This creates Musashi's final paradox. When you no longer need something, you become irresistible to it. Stop needing approval, and people will respect you. Stop needing company, and people will seek you out. Stop needing success, and you will become successful. Musashi learned this 400 years ago, and it remains just as true today. So now, you face a choice. You can click away from this video, return to your usual life, and remain ordinary. Or you can accept Musashi's challenge and begin your own transformation. If you've watched this far, you've already shown that you're different from most men who would have quit early. If you are ready to take the next step, commit to it in the comments, right? I accept Musashi's challenge, and always remember, weak men seek comfort, strong men seek growth. The path of strength is the path of solitude, but at its end, you don't just become strong, you become whole. Thanks for watching.